Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So today I just wanted to do a quick one, just kind of vent some of my frustrations here as a collector of retro games. Now, a lot of you who follow me, you know I'm into emulation. I like using RetroPie and Hyperspin, and I like messing with that stuff. But at the same time, there's certain games that I want to have physical copies of to play on original hardware. I'm not an outrageous collector. I'll collect repros, homebrews, the real deal. It just depends on what it is and what I'm willing to spend the money on. But I still like to have physical game cartridges to play on these systems that I got. I've invested a lot of time and money into getting, these systems that I have, mostly Nintendo stuff, because I really love it and it's just something I'm into. Just always have. I've been off and on a collector. Get to a certain point in my life and I wind up selling everything on eBay and then regretting it, that kind of thing. It's just nonsense. I had a viewer of mine just send me a TurboGrafx 16 and I'm so thrilled that I got that and I love it. I'm gonna do a video on that another time, but just having those physical games and systems means something to me because I've given up and had to sell them in the past. Now I don't have the means right now to be collecting and buying tons of stuff. But when I find a deal, I'll jump on it when I can. And lately, I've been getting really frustrated with these fools. These eBay fools. Not as described, like my title says. So right now I have a couple examples of things that have frustrated the hell out of me that I've gotten off of eBay lately. Now, I'm not an idiot. I'm not a sucker. When I go on eBay and I'm looking at retro games, I know what to look for. I know how to tell if a game's counterfeit or not. And I make sure, if they're saying it's a repro or whatever. But that's not the only problem. It's not just, getting a repro when you ordered something that wasn't. That's not the only problem I've been having. I got two examples I'm going to show you. And just, make a long story short. First thing, I'm really big in the Nintendo 64 right now, and I'm trying to collect the complete US released library. Not the weird special stuff that, that really wasn't released here, but just the physical games that were released in stores, and then the handful of Blockbuster exclusives. That's all I want. I don't want the special version of Turok or anything like that. I just want the standard games. So when I've been able to, swine apple alert, when I've been able to, I've been picking up games, here and there. If I see a good deal on an expensive game, I'll grab it if I'm able to. If I find the cheaper games on a real good deal, I'll grab them, but those are kind of my last priority, getting the low-cost games. But recently I've been like, you know what, screw it, let me get a few of these low-cost games where I can get like 3 or 4 games for like $10, something like that. My issue is when an eBay seller posts an image and it's not a stock photo, but they post an image. There's a couple ways this can go about. They post an image of one copy that they have and they're selling multiple copies. When they sell one copy, it should just be that copy is what they show in their picture. But if they're selling multiples, I can understand, showing one or maybe showing the worst condition one, something like that. But what I've been running into is these fools that'll show a pristine copy and they'll tell you, this is not the one you're going to receive, but the one you will receive will be in very similar condition. It's like, okay, I can deal with that, especially for a cheap game. So I have an example here. I don't know how well this is going to show up on camera. So the image for this one, and yeah, on camera, you're not going to get the full feel for it. But this one, WCW NWO Revenge, was a few dollar game, like $3 or $4, something like that. Nothing that, this is trash. I'm going to throw this away. This is not, I would never put this in my Nintendo 64, and I'll show you why in a moment. And like I said, you're not going to be able to see exactly the quality that I'm seeing, but that's not the only issue. When they showed the image of this, it was near perfect condition. And they even said the label may have a light scratch on it. This label's all faded and there's plenty of chunks missing out of it. Like if you took your nail and just scratched it out, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4. There's like 4 spots on there where it's just gouged out. The label's faded the heck. The whole cartridge, there's crap on the inside the corners. The cartridge has marker that's been cleaned off. The back half is faded. Stickers, poop everywhere. It looks really bad in person. But that's not the main issue. The main issue is I would not put this in my Nintendo 64. And I've already opened this up, so I'm going to show you why. If you can see on the bottom there, there's some traces of rust on the plastic. Not a good sign. I've already unscrewed the cage, and as you can see on the metal, there's rust. Don't know how well that shows up, but there's quite a bit of rust, especially in that corner. And we'll take the board out, and I'll show you that in a moment. Some more rust. How do you get rust inside of a cartridge that these have metal cages in it? How do you get rust inside of a cartridge? That's from moisture, obviously, but whatever. They probably couldn't see that. But once you look at the board, and I'll take this. This is just a dirty mess. The little guard thing. There's even like rust particles on there. Now I don't know if you can see that. I don't know how well you can see this, but that board is completely corroded. They took sandpaper to it. The connections, some of them are bare all the way down, like they've almost been removed. It's very hard to see that with my lighting. If I did a close-up, it would be better, but I'm sure you get the idea. There's sandpaper marks all across this, going this way, and the traces have been corroded. There's rust on the traces. There's corrosion on the traces. This is crazy. You don't ship this to somebody. This is trash. This goes in the bin. You just throw it away. That's not something you sell to somebody. Negative feedback incoming for sure, especially because this guy is a big seller and has not responded to anything I've messaged him about. So what do? You just open a claim, not as described. That's it. eBay will contact the seller, give them so much time. With a situation like this, it's not even this. If the seller does respond, it's not going to be worth their time or money for me to send this back. And it's only a few bucks, so they'll probably just refund it. No, not even contact me. They'll just refund it at some point, whatever. I don't really care about the few bucks that this game cost. I just wanted as good of a quality copy of it as I could get. I understand these are old games. I'm not tripping on that. I didn't expect to get a perfect version of this, but not rust and corrosion on the contacts. There's green, like, corrosion, and they sanded this down. It's just bad, man. I wish I could really show it to you better, but that is horrible. You don't send that to somebody, no matter how much they paid. You don't send that to somebody. You throw that away. That's out of your inventory, especially if you're a big seller. You don't do that. That's just garbage, man. That frustrates the frick out of me. Just horrible. That guy, he is who he is, I guess. The next one that I want to show before I end this video is, I didn't need this game. I didn't even want it. I mean, I already have a version of it, and a real version of it, Mario All-Stars. But this came bundled with a bunch of other games. And the value of this particular game is, it's in the $30 to $35 range. Mario All-Stars with Super Mario World. So I get this in the mail. Like I said, it was part of a bundle deal. I didn't buy it just for this. It was part of a bundle. I get this game in the mail, and I look at it. I'm just like, all right, the plastic's good. The plastic is actually just a reused Super Nintendo cartridge. And there's a few ways you can tell. That's not exactly what this video is about, but the label on the back is the proper label with the stamp into it. The logo that's etched into it or molded into it is proper. A lot of times when you look at it, The registered trademark symbol will be wrong. The dot on the I will be wrong. There's a lot of ways to tell just by looking at a cartridge. So this cartridge looked good except for the label. The label was the biggest giveaway. So I didn't open it right away, but I messaged the seller, hey, what's up with this, bro? Is this counterfeit? Did you sell me a repro? Because that's not what I paid you for. Your listing did not say this was a repro. You said these were all clean, tested, authentic cartridges. His response is, oh no, it's not a repro cart. It just has a new label put on it. Okay, maybe. So after that response, looking at the board from the outside, you can just tell automatically. I didn't look at that right away, but if you look at the board in there without opening it, you could just tell. It's too clean, first off. It looks brand new, and it doesn't look the same as standard Super Nintendo cartridges. There's something off about it. It just looks too brand new for it to be real. Not to say that you can't find games that were never played, but it just looks too new. So that's suspicious with the cartridge that's over 20 years old. But opening it, that is not a frickin' that's not a real game. Sorry, hate to break that to the seller. This is not a real game. It's just not. There's nothing real about this. This is not a Nintendo chip. And the Nintendo chips on Super Nintendo are not that small. They're just not. And the biggest giveaway is the little logo of the board manufacturer. It doesn't say Nintendo on there anywhere. That tie, that's like a manufacturer or something who makes these boards. But Nintendo has their name on their own. So that's not authentic. It drives me nuts, These guys trying to pull a fast one on people, hoping they won't notice, hoping they won't catch on, or if they do, it's too damn late. But that frustrates the heck out of me. Now, this guy, he refunded me my money for this. He said, go ahead and keep it. And for the bundle that I got from him, the games were all legit except for this one. But this one, honestly, out of the set of the games that I got, this was the highest valued one. I did get ActRaiser 2, which is it's right below value of this, but and the Donkey Kong Countries, but they all have lower value right now, but they were games that I kind of wanted. This though, God, he refunded my money, so good on him for that, and he refunded it without a fight or an argument for the most part. But seriously, guys, if you're an eBay seller, don't try to offload your junk and misrepresent what you're selling. Like this WCW cart that's corroded and rusted and sandpapered all over the contacts. Ridiculous. And don't knowingly sell repros. This guy, I know he was knowingly selling repros because after the fact, I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt because it was the only one in that bundle. I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt, but after digging through all his listings had something like this thrown in it. And upon closer inspection, you could tell they were repros. And I was like, no, this guy's, he's peppering in, he's salting his listings of bundles with the repro cartridges, hoping people won't catch on, trying to make a killing off of them. And, like I said, I told the guy, I said, I value this between 30 to 40 bucks. And that's the only reason I paid you the price I did for your listing. So he refunded me the higher end, 40 bucks. I have no issue with repros. I have a lot of repros. This, I didn't care to have a repro of. I have the original Mario All-Stars. That's a real cartridge. And you can, the other thing you can tell right away is the weight is totally off. That's another dead giveaway, especially if they use a really good label, which most labels you can tell. You can just tell. They're too shiny. The dots, the resolution's just way off. You can tell. It's garbage. It's just pure garbage. If you guys are into this kind of stuff, pay real close attention to what you buy. Inspect everything. Get a game bit. I've had this game bit for freaking years, and I use it all the time. Get a game bit. Open your games. Inspect them before you do anything. If you open them up, clean them up real nice. But, look at it. Make sure it's a real deal cartridge, especially if you paid the money for it. If this was $10 to $15, which is honestly is the going price for a repro, In my opinion, you'll see a lot of people selling repros for 30, 40, 50 bucks for high-end games. Not necessarily this one, but, you know, like a Secret of Mana, Chrono Trigger, that kind of thing. You'll see those all day for 30 to 40 bucks, which is still kind of a ripoff in my opinion. But if you go direct to China like a lot of these people do, you can get them for 10, 15 bucks. Whatever. If you go to a company within the US who are making their own repros and they're making them high quality, you're going to pay a little more. And some of those repros I think are very good and I would prefer them. I don't like buying repros of games that have saves on them because I just have a feeling that they're gonna shit out on me. They're not gonna work in the long run. So I don't buy repros like this that has game saves. I'll buy a repro of a game that doesn't have game saves. No RPGs, no games like this that save. Will not buy repros of them. But if I were to, I would buy them from somebody who's manufacturing them within the US, not mass producing them in China. No hate on China, I get a lot of stuff from China. But there's my rant, guys. It's gone on for a lot longer than I expected. Hope this enlightened you, entertained you a little bit, you know, for my torture from these bastards. And these are only 2 examples. I've got quite a few more. But with that said, guys, smash that like button, subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and I will catch y'all next time. Boom!